Well, I think Yannick's given a great overview, so let me just first of all tell you a little bit about who I am and where I'm coming from in looking at this. I'm Brian. As we said, I'm the CEO of a company called Iogen Corporation. We make renewable fuels, and in fact we make zero CO2 emission renewable fuels that can be blended with gasoline and used in today's cars. We're a Canadian-owned company, relatively small, but we have had big partnerships over a number of years. We've been allied with Royal Dutch Shell and have invested over $500 million in developing our technology. We are competing with a number of other, what I would call, big industrial coalitions, and the general technology we're in has probably seen $5 billion of investment over the last decade. And that is a whole set of essentially big money industrial companies, all committed to developing low carbon fuels that will be part of our fuel system. Now, if you said, why are these big companies all doing this? The truth is, it's got nothing to do with their honest commitment to reducing carbon. It has to do with their commitment to their shareholders and their belief and understanding that reducing carbon will create economic value and they will receive it. And in fact, more particularly, I would say the investment in renewable fuels for transportation in the world is driven by two important laws in the United States. One, the Renewable Fuel Standard, which has a set of special provisions intended to incent the development or use of renewable fuels. And the other is California's Low Carbon Fuel Standard, which sets a lowering amount of the carbon that you have. In both of these rules, they're functionally cap-and-trade type rules aimed at the transportation system. I've been actively involved in the formation and development of both of those. I testified at both the House and the Senate in the development of the Renewable Fuel Standard. My firm has been active in the lobbying and development of the newly reissued Low Carbon Fuel Standard in California. And these are at the heart of creating financial incentives for firms to develop new technologies around reducing carbon. And, you know, as I said, Yannick gave a great summary of different options and all of that. But let me just offer kind of a visceral example of what creating private sector incentives can do and how it might impact debate in the area. And I reach back to the very first cap-and-trade laws that really went into play, and those were the sulfur trading rules in the United States. That was to reduce SO2 pollution, acid rain. They were passed in the United States. There was a gigantic debate about what to do, how to do it. Economists were able to get in with their idea that price incentives would work as opposed to EPA telling people exactly what they had to do. And the debate essentially went like this. The people in industry said, these targets are outrageous, they're disgraceful, it's going to cost $100, so to speak, to deal with this. It's fabulously expensive. And the environmentalists said, oh no, my, there's way easier, super efficient ways to do this. It's not going to cost $100, it's going to cost $10. And really and truly, there was a tenfold difference in the projections made by the industry committees and industry organizations and by the environmentalists. Tenfold. Now, what ultimately happened is these laws passed, there's a trading process came in, there's now a transparent price, and you know, it wasn't $100, it wasn't $10, it turned out to be $2. They actually were able to develop ways, yay, entrepreneurs in America and large companies and all were able to figure out ways to reduce SO2 emissions for vastly less than the estimates of anybody. And that was all about creating a price incentive and letting people in the market figure out what they could do best. Now, while Yannick talked about a whole range of different approaches, from my perspective, the key is to create a price incentive so that people who are trying to make economic decisions can say, man, I can make some money here. And the question of exactly how do you structure that price incentive, I think should be driven by the politics of the day. The world of politics is a complicated, difficult place, and in my view, as a person who's actively involved in moving forward environmental legislation, you got to figure out how to build coalitions that get people on side and pass things that will make a positive difference. There you are.